Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we'll start the Chulin daf Hey. We are going to begin on Hey Amud Aleph, about 8 lines from the top. So we were learning that when it came to Yehoshaphat, we ended up learning, even though there was much discussion, that he actually did partake of the Su'uda of Achav. Now we know Achav was very into Avodah Zarah, the idol worship of Baal, but nonetheless, even though he was a mummer of Avodah Zarah, it didn't make him not allowed to be trusted when it comes to shechita. And therefore we see that if you're a mummer l'davar echad, that doesn't mean you're a mummer for something else. So that's the chiddush. And on this, the Gemara says, Lema Masayale. Perhaps we can prove this from the pasuk in Malachim Aleph. It says, said, so when he was later hiding from Achav, so miraculously ravens provided bread, meat in the morning, okay, so he had basically food and he had meat and all this stuff came so that he was able to survive. We see that it came from the butchery of Achav. So even though he was running away from Achav, he was still able to hide himself and be able to eat. So which is a pretty amazing thing. So apparently we see another raya that again, even though Achav was Avodah Zarah, you could eat from. So no, Al Pi Hadibor Shani, says Rashi, Shakadosh Baruch Hu Hitiru, Hashem allowed this. Lafi Shad, Echsiv Diasaravim Tzivisi Sham L'Chalkel. It says Beferish that he was allowed to eat this. So my or Voyim, so Ravina or Ravim Amish. It literally it means ravens. So Amalei Rav Adabar Min Yomi Vadilma Trey Gavri Dahavi Shemayu or Abim. Maybe it's actually people, not animals, birds, but it was actually 2 people with that name. So Milo Ksiv is not written Yeharguas Oyrev Batsur Oyrev Veszev Geimer. And it talks about the death of this person. His name was Oyrev. So a person could have that name. So how do we know it's a raven mamish? Maybe it was a person by the name that provided the food. Our Malay is Rami Milsa de Tervayu Havi Shemayu Orvim. That would be a pretty unbelievable thing to say that both of them ended up having the same name, right? So it's more likely that it was a bird. So Vidilma al Shem Mim Kaiman, maybe it's just referring to the place. Miluksiv Varim Yotso Gedudim. They came out armed. V'yoshuim Eretz Yisrael Naira Katana, and there was a Naira Katana who was captive. The Kashlon, we asked once in Karilon Naira Karilon Katana. The pasuk mentions a Naira and a Katana in the same pasuk. A Naira is someone who is past the age of being a Katana. Katana is less than 12 years. A Naira is typically 12 years to 12 and a half. So which one is it? So remember Padas, Katana Demin Naron. It means she was a katana, but it was a place called Naran. So basically, sometimes we have these names, and it may not necessarily refer to a actual literal meaning, but it could be talking about the place. So imkain or boyim boyle. So should say it that way. Fine. So lema masayli hakol shaychtin v'fil kuti. So it says that anyone could shecht. One of the answers we said is even a kuti could do so. V'yafil orel, v'yafil Yisrael mummer. So we went through this in yesterday's daf. So hi orel hechidam. What does it mean to have bris meal? Ilema shemesuach machmas mila. So Yisrael malihu. It can't be that this person had siblings that all had bris milah and died, and that's the reason why he did not have bris milah. Because in that case, he's not obligated to do bris milah, because for pikuach nefesh there's a chazak in his family that he was going to die. So therefore, certainly it's not his fault. And Rashi throws in de'anasu, which is interesting. Like Rashi, I don't remember, but I don't recall this Rashi there? Why does it say it here? Okay. El pshita murmur la reus. It means this guy is just a mummer. He could have done it, but he was a renegade. He didn't want to do this mitzvah. So Ema Seifa. V'afil Yisrael mummer is also allowed to do shchita. No hechidami. Im mummer l'davar achad hainu mummer reus. It's the same thing. Elva mummer avodas chachavim. So it must be, this is what we said, it must be, it's talking about an oral for Avodah Zarah, even though it's also one thing to another, but it's a bigger chiddush because anyone who is kaifer b'Avodah Zarah is like your maida kol tar kula. Maybe not. Maybe once you're a mummer for Avodah Zarah, unlike everything we've said until now, maybe it doesn't work. You can't do shchita. Diamar Mar. Which I just said. So maybe not. It means he's a mummer for that thing itself. And nonetheless, we still can allow him to do shchita. Just like Rabbi. Mace Rabbi. Just like Rabbi. Okay, let's look in Rashi. Mummer oisa davar. L'shchita. L'teyavoin. We said it's not just like a murmur tiyavon. It's like I have a heter and an isser in front of me. But if you're dashba, it's not even an isser. It's like the logic is, well, between isser and heter, I'm just gonna. If there's no difference, I might as well do the heter. No, they may not even do the heter because they view the isser like heter. So no, we don't think like that. Elavadai says Rashi ki yisur damulei. He knows the difference between good and bad. Right? But he's only going to do the bad thing if it's easier for him. If we prepare the knife, he's not going to go out of his way to do something wrong because it's the same shchita, the same act. So you might as well just do it properly. So that's the chiddush. Mikem. The pasuk says Adam ki yakriv mikem carbon, when you're makriv a carbon, and this is actually, as Rashi says, referring by neder and nedava, ki yakriv mashma kishirtul hakriv, that you want to, it's your choice. It's a free will offering. So what is the drasha? It's v'lo kulchem. Some people could do the shchita, but not everyone. So it's a hoitzis, a mummer. A mummer is not, we're not going to accept his nedava. We're not going to accept his carbon. Mikem, b'chem chalaikti. Only when it comes to a yid do we make a difference, and we're not going to accept a renegade Jew. However, v'lo umos. When it comes to umos, even if, let's say, they do things which are as a mummer, we will still accept their carbon, which is an unbelievable vart that not only in our religion do we not always just favor ourselves, fakert. When it comes to a mummer yid, we don't accept his carbon. But for an akum, even you're a mummer, we'll still accept your carbon. You're more likely to be able to accept the carbon, even if you're a sinner, by an ovikachavim, which is unbelievable. Mina behema, so lahavi b'nei adam shadam lebehema. Even people that act like animals, they don't do mitzvahs. That's Rashi says Shema kaimas mitzvahs will still accept. Mekan omer mekablin karbonos mepaishi Yisrael. So if you're a paishi Yisrael, which is Rashi says you do avedas b'mezid, we'll still accept your karbonos. Rashi says paishim elu hamardim. It's Gemara Numa. This is Gemara over there. Tells us what is the difference between prashati, avisi, chatasi. He goes through those different things. What's the order? Why is it in that order? So anyway, we'll accept karbanos from them. Even your place in Israel. So it sounds like we'll always accept karbanos. So the Reisha sounds like we're not so careful, so often will we accept the carbon. We're not going to accept the carbon from a mummer yid. But then it seems like you do. Then it says chutz ben a mummer manasach hasayayin mechal shabasas b'parhesia. When it comes to certain averos, including nisach hayayin, which is linked to avodah zara, or being mechal Shabbos, that also not. So hagufa kasha. This whole thing seems very difficult. Amrit, first we said Mikan V'lu Kulchem. Well, it's a mummer. So we said a mummer Yisrael, no. We're not going to accept your carbon. V'hadar Tani, then with Tani we learn, Mekabel Karbanos Meposh Yisrael. So, do we or we don't? So, Holokasha. Reisha Murmel Chol Torah Kula. If you're Murmel Chol Torah Kula, then we're not going to accept your carbon. If you just do nothing. So, forget it. Mitziyas Murmel Davar Echad. Which is an unbelievable vort, as when it comes to, a lot of people think life, Torah and Judaism is all or nothing. We see here, Beferish, is not true. If you're a Murmel Chol Torah Kula, then you're in a different level. But if you're a mummer davar echad, okay, so you do some mitzvahs, okay, you're not perfect. You're a mummer when it comes to certain things. We're not happy that you're a mummer, but it's not on the same level. We'll accept your karbanos. Chutz min mummer u'manasach hasayayin b'chal shabbos v'arhesia. So hi mummer hechadami. Im mummer l'chol Torah kula sahana reisha. Certainly we don't. We already said that. The im mummer davar echad kashem etziyasta, that says we will accept. Elav hachakamer. It must be like this. Chutz min mummer l'nasach hasayayin l'chal shabbos v'arhesia. When it comes to those specific forms of mummer, that's what we don't accept. Al mummer v'neskachavim habi mummer l'chol Torah kula. The tiyufta Rabbi Anan tiyufta. So we see. It's not true what Rav Anan said, because we see that when it comes to Nisach Hayayin, which is Avodah Zarah, that if you're a Mumul Avodah Zarah, then you're a Mumul Chol Torah Kula, and that's it. So how do you emphasize this whole story of Yehoshaphat and being Makabel, the food from Achav, right? So how through the ravens. So as we said, maybe it was he did it, or maybe Yoshaphat's trusted colleague Ovadia did it. So, or maybe different. Maybe he didn't eat. Maybe okay. So that's the answer to that. Question 1: Be'elu averis hamumar bahem havi mumul chol Torah v'shchita subsul. So we said when it comes to two things, Avodah Zarah and Shabbos. Okay. All right. TA 3. Heich ochel Eliyahu. How did Eliyahu Hanavi eat from the ravens, from Achav? Bahari Hayamummer, right? He was a mummer. So how could he do this? I thought I would have marked this down. For some reason I didn't. So either it says Shematsu behen oivdim with the mus yaina hakutim. Where am I? Oh, okay, I'm looking at the wrong question. Question 3. Mumra avodah zarah ina mumra l'shchita, or it's al pi hadibor. Okay, so that's the answer. That's TA3. Mamish. Okay. Let's see, Al Pi Dibur Shiny. Okay. TB. Let's see if there's another question here. Mahim Shnei HaMakarish Mumar Enu Mevi Chatos. Okay, we didn't get to that yet, but we will today. Okay, so let's keep on moving. So, you're telling me you learned it out from Mikem, etc., that you can't be Mekabel carbon from a mummer. I'll show you from a different source. So, Mi'am Haaretz. Let me look at question TB really quick. This is Daf Hey. Okay. So Mahim Shnei Makarish Shemaimer Inu Mevi Chatos. My Nafkin B'Nehem. Okay. So it says the Amar it's probably a mummer, right? So it says a mummer can't do. Rav Shimon Menashe Rav Shimon Ashilo Seasenav Ishkag V'Ashem. Hashem Midiyasai. If he will do teshuva after he realizes he made a mistake, maybe carbon al shkagasai. Einu shab midiyasai. Einu maybe carbon al shkagasai. Because after all, he doesn't care, right? So it's only if you're the only reason why a carbon will work is only if you made a mistake and you're going to want to do it again. However, in this case, he doesn't care. So therefore, that carbon will not be accepted. My binayu, says Rashi, Mikol Makom Mumur Makablin Bine, Ben Lomar, Befil Shogig, Ilu Hoyodea Matchil Nami Hoyoicho, Ben Shom Yodiosai, right? So that's what's it right? Shav. I wrote the wrong word. I said it says Ashem Asher Los Yasen Mishkog of Ashem Hashev. So we say Hashev. Let's get the language right. Mi di ato. Right? It says Hash Asher Los Yasen Mishkog of Ashem. Right? So only if he would have known about it, he wouldn't have done it. Okay. That's what I wrote over here. Imhu lo oiset shuva raka adayin murmur ba'isa haver lo omen haribo yapasik mikarbin v'loy hakoil. Where am I over here? Mikam v'lo kulchem, I should say. Mikam v'lo kulchem. Okay, this is TB 6. The pasuk says, "Adam ki yakriv mikem." Let's get the language. Mikem, b'lo kulchem. Okay. Adam ki yakriv mikem v'loy kulchem. V'hoitzi mumur Yisrael. All right. Okay. So that's going to be the answer. And it says, Umay nafkamina b'neim. So let's see. Let's keep on moving. So what's the difference? So, my b'nai, Samrab Hamnuna, Mumul Echel Chelev, V'hevi Carbon al Hadami b'nai. So the difference is if you're a mumur to eat chelev, you eat non-kosher fats, and you want to bring a carbon on dam. That's the nafkamina. So what is that? So what's the nafkamina? Let's look at Rashi. So, shishagag boy. So what is this? Your shaygeg ve'ilu hayodeh shehu dam. If you knew it was blood, you would not have eaten it, right? So you ate blood, but you would not have if you would have been told, you wouldn't have eaten it. Now you don't eat blood, but you do eat chelev, which is a no-no. So a Tanakama murmur shemoi, he's still considered a mummer v'lo mekablin minei because he's a mummer, right? That's however, Rav Shimon shab mediyasahu bedam u'mekablin minei. He is a sham yadiyaso when it comes to blood. He by mistake ate blood which he wouldn't have eaten had he known it was blood, right? So that's the nafkamina. The nafkamina is that case. Let's see if I wrote it. Im hu murmur l'chelav v'lo murmur l'chilas dam. Im yochel l'hakriv. It's a good answer. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. So, mumur l'echel chelav v'hevi carbon al dam yikumenayim. So chada b'chat. So the question is, why do you need two psukim basically? So one is chada b'chatos v'chada b'oila. One is that he can't bring a chatos. The other one is he can't bring a carbon oil. Why would you exclude a mumur from both of those carbonos? So the Iyashmin and chatos only said that mishum kaparahu. I understand he doesn't deserve kapara because he doesn't care about kapara. So we don't accept it. Of oil with the daran who it's a free will gift. So maybe we'll accept his gift. V'yashmin and oil mishum delav chiyuvahu. He doesn't have to do it. So why, if he doesn't have to do it, why should we accept it? The whole hechad exib behema. Anytime it says the word behema is garyusahu, he is really so bad. Like we say on Shabbos Mincha, right? What is the drasha from that? We went out. These are people who are orum, like in the third parak in Parshas Bereishis. Someone who's crafty in his knowledge, and therefore he puts his mind and spirit like that of an animal. In other words, he's lowly and he's humble. So this is actually a positive quality. So Hasim Ksiv Adam Behema. If it says Adam, so this guy's an Adam, but even though he's an Adam, he's humble like an animal. If it only says behema, you're a behema. If you're an Adam behema, it's okay. Is that necessarily always good? Is base Israel zera, they'll plant the seed Adam zera behema. Now this pasuk in Yirmiyah is not such a good thing, because this is first of all, look at Rashi. Arumin badas ka'adam arishon umasiman atzmi k'behema dekoy ruach dachoy ruach. So he's like adam arishon. Okay. V'zera behema, says Rashi. We learn about the sota lo karav lo shanav lo shimish tamid chachamim. This is a person who has no chumash, no mishnah, is not mishamish tamid chachamim, which some people say this will learn Gemara, or he just doesn't serve them. So kalaimer hachachamim v'haboydim kulam azarim lefroisam or voisam. Anyway, the point is that this is not a positive person, and yet it says Adam and Behema. So Hasam hachilkia zera zera Adam l'chod v'zera Behema l'chod. So it doesn't say Adam and Behema right next to each other. It has this break, so therefore it's really not talking about a good guy. Okay, Simon Nickel. Rabbi Gamliel ubeis Dino. With regard to Rabbi Gamliel, who was the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, who was among the Achroinim, and his Beis Din, they counted regarding the din of Shchutis Kuti, and regarding that Nimnu Shchutis Kuti vi Asrua. They decided that such person's Shchita will be Asr. The Kutis will be Asr. Tamuli Rab Zeru, Rabbi Yaakov Aridi, Shemul Shama Rabbi Ela B'Shein Yisrael Oimid Al Gabav. Maybe the only time they said that is only because the Yid wasn't watching, and that's the reason why it's problematic. Malay Dami Haimer Rabbanan Kedol Gamiri Inshi Shmaisa. It almost sounds like you haven't learned the sugya so well that you framed it that way. B'Shein Yisrael Oimid Al Gabav. Well, remember, boy, if there's no Yid there, would you need to tell us that? Obviously, we're not going to accept it. But it's talking about even a situation in which we're even Oimid Al Gabav. Even in that situation, we're not going to accept. So Gemara says, Kabul minei or lo kabul minei. Did Rab Zer accept this or not? So Tashma, Diyam Rab Nachman Yitzchak Rab Asi Anir ECS Rab Yochanan. I saw Rab Yochanan that she'achal mishchitas kusi. I saw him eat from mishchitas kusi. Now, how's that possible? Because we said even if it's even Oimid Al Gabav, that it's not good, so obviously it wasn't makabel. So Av Rab Yois, Av Rav Asi, Alcham Shchitas Kusi. Fatayibur Rab Zera. Rab Zera was wondering what's going on over here. Lu Shemiel, who did not hear from Rabbi Gamliel that it's Aser. Dei Havi Shemiel, who, if he in fact would have known it, Havi Makabule, then he would have accepted that he couldn't have done it, and he wouldn't have eaten. El Dilma Shemiel, who maybe he did hear. Vlu Kabulua, he didn't accept it. So Hadar Pashit not Lanashe. So Rab Zer figured out himself. He said, must be Mistabra to Shmiel Huvlo Kiblua. It must be they didn't accept it. It's not that they made a mistake and they ended up eating something which they shouldn't have. Had they known, they wouldn't have eaten it. That can't be, as we'll see in a second. It must be instead that they knew and they didn't accept, and therefore they held that really, if you're an Yisrael's Omen Al Gamba of a Shchitas Kuti will be allowed. He would have accepted, so they made a mistake. So Heichi Mistayam Milsal Mechli Sur. How is it possible that they were successful in eating something usher? We know this famous sugi in many places, in Bobash and other places. And Tosa says at least it's referring by food. When we find even the animals, like the donkey of Rav Pinchas ben Yair, which we'll see later on, didn't eat from something which was not properly tithed. So certainly Hashem's not going to cause a tzaddik to eat something which is asur. So it must be they knew about it and they weren't makabel. Vav Mudalf. They didn't accept it. So Lishnile could have just answered himself. Kan kisha oimin al gabav, kan kisheni so oimin al gabav. Elav shma mina kabel minei shma mina. He could have just answered himself when we said, well, maybe the reason why it's accepted is if you're Oimid al Gabav and you could eat it, but when you're not Oimid al Gabav, you can't eat it. The fact that he didn't make that distinction must be he doesn't care, that even if you're Oimid al Gabav, you're still not allowed to eat it, and therefore we see that he actually was Makabel that din. Okay, we're going to stop there. Let's see if there's another question. TA4, no. TB7, Adkan.